In this video, we have a very special guest today. We have Starship in the house. We are talking all about nighttime spectaculars. We're going to break it down, the ones we love, the ones we hate. We're also going to rank them by tiers. And we're also going to dive into Disneyland Forward, the future of the Disneyland Resort, and even some Walt Disney World. We have an excellent conversation planned for everybody today. We got Starship in the house up next on OG 55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG 55. Like I said, we're talking nighttime spectaculars. We're going to talk the future of the Disneyland and the Walt Disney World resorts. But before I do, I want to introduce our special guest, Starship, first time on the channel. Welcome, sir.
Welcome me. Yes. Hello, everyone. So, I guess, yeah.
Where can they find you on social media?
Well, you can find me technically on YouTube. I don't post much. I do post some videos, but find me Starship 824 on YouTube. You can also find me Starship 824 on Twitter, not X. I refuse to use X. That is not the name of it.
I agree with you. What a dumb name. What a dumb rebranding that was.
Whatever.
It was so pointless. But Starship, it's awesome having you on. First time on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I've been a long time viewer. First time on the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Mr. Italiano over here. It's not your first time, Italiano.
No.
I think it hasn't even been 12 hours since we recorded the last video.
Yeah, I know. Definitely not my first rodeo.
Absolutely. If you let everybody home know where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. All right, let's dive in. So let's kind of organize it. We'll start with Disneyland Resort nighttime spectaculars. And then we'll head over to Walt Disney World and do their nighttime spectaculars. I don't have as much experience when it comes to the Disney World spectaculars, but
neither does Disney.
Exactly. That's good. I like that. That's good. So, but we'll talk about it. So, Starship, Disneyland Resort. What's your all-time favorite nighttime spectacular? If you had to pick one.
Nighttime spectacular. So I would go. So we have World of Color, right? We have fireworks and we have Fantasmic. That's kind of what we have. And I guess, I mean, you could technically count the parades like Main Street Electrical and Paint the Night, but I wouldn't really count those as part of like nighttime spectaculars. I'd count that more like just parades, you know? But I'd say favorite Disneyland show. Now, I haven't seen many of the Disneyland shows in person. I've only seen like 2, maybe 3. But right, I'd go with Wondrous Journeys because greatest. I mean, it's probably the greatest Disneyland fireworks show ever.
It's crazy. Like that show is so good. Starship, like the ending with Winnie the Pooh. Oh, I'm sad it's over. Can we do it all over again? I mean, it was the perfect ending. It's a beautiful love letter to Disney animation. I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. I mean, it seriously is the most amazing thing. And the way they weave in, it's not like a clip show, right? Where it's like, okay, now we're watching Tangled. Now we're watching Mulan. It's like they weave in the various movies together on one scene, and the music was blended in there. It's incredible. What are your thoughts on now, George? I know you love this show, but overall thoughts on Wondrous Journeys?
Yeah, Wondrous Journeys, I feel, was a huge comeback for Disneyland fireworks. Because that's the thing about fireworks shows as a whole. They can kind of be hit or miss, and normally if you have a fireworks show like is it Together Forever?
Yeah, the Pixar.
Okay. Yeah, because the fireworks show is called Together Forever, and then the parade's called Better Together, and it's just like it gets all miscombobulated. You don't know which one you're talking about.
Better.
Yeah, it's like yeah. Better together, whatever. It's
That'll be the next show.
that'll be the next one.
Whatever.
Yeah. So when you have like those specialty fireworks shows that are just there for a limited time, you could kind of take them or leave them. However, with Wondrous Journeys, I know that was more so the headline fireworks showpiece for Disney 100, but I think that has a more broader scope that they could keep that there for a much longer range, I feel. Because I really do enjoy the show. I love the opening. With
the way they start with
like the butterflies.
Hand-drawn. Well, I was gonna say the way they start with the hand-drawn animation, and then they draw in it like starts off with Mickey with the hand-drawn, and then it draws in the black of his ears, and then you get into all the other characters going in with their original sketches, and then it goes into color. It's just
beautiful.
Yeah,
going up with it.
And I love how, OG, you had mentioned that it pays tribute to Disney animation, and because it was celebrating Disney 100, a lot of people are saying, well, how come the parks weren't really showcased in this? But as you religiously say on the show, Disney is a studio company first,
right?
It was created by the back end of animation.
Well, yeah, and it's 100 years, and the parks haven't been around for 100 years. And not to say the parks haven't been a big part of Disney's history, they have been, but I think it's appropriate to kind of focus on animation because that's how it all started. And like we've said many times on the show, that's the backbone of this entire company. It's a studio. Roy Disney.
The real heartbeat of this company was, is, and will always be the film business.
There you go. He said it right there. It was, is, and will always be the film business. It feeds everything. So if you don't have movies, you don't have animation, you don't have all that stuff being churned out by the studio, then the theme parks have nothing to build because they depend on that IP and the whole thing. But I think it was a proper approach to do the animation. Go ahead, Starship. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and when you saw it, I remember when the show was originally announced as just Disney animation, a lot of people on Twitter were very kind of upset about it, and we're like, well, why aren't we getting the parks? Where's all the parks? Like, we got that already. It's called Remember Dreams Come True. Right. We got that a while. We've done this already. I think it was nice to not finally, because the movies are on like all the shows, but I thought it was very appropriate to do 100 years of Disney animation as the 100th show. I really like that. Now, the other 100th show, World of Color 1, that's another story.
Oh yeah, George, World of Color 1, what do you think, man?
What else? Here's the thing, it's okay. I could see where they were trying to go with it, but I feel like that it was lost in translation as far as the execution goes. I know they wanted to incorporate Marvel and what have you, because Marvel plays a big part of DCA. But for me, when you're tying it into something that goes back to the early days of the wonderful world of color, I just feel like that they could have done something much better, because the original World of Color was perfect. There's times where they kind of change things here or there. I'm fine with it. But World of Color is one of those shows where it's a hit and miss depending on which version you're watching.
Yeah. Well, I've seen like what they call them, sizzle reels. Is that what the kids call these? Sizzle reels from Disney, where they do the whole Walt Disney Company. I think the Super Bowl had a great one like a year or two ago, right?
Oh yeah.
Right, where they go through the whole thing of Disney, and it's like they mix in classic Disney animation with Star Wars and Marvel, and I think they even have like Avatar in there and all that good stuff. But I've seen sizzle reels like for the Super Bowl handled better than World of Color 1, right? Like I think World of Color 1 had all the elements that those sizzle reels have, but it didn't execute it though like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I think the problem with World of Color 1 is that none of the segments or clips are like connected in any way. It kind of just goes from one thing to the next. Like, why do we go from Moana doing this big dramatic emotional scene, and then we just go to Marvel? It makes no sense. And then we go back to Marvel, and I guess they're trying to say that like like Moana defeated the Marvel villains. Like I don't know what they're trying to say. It makes no it makes no sense. I don't get it. One of the things I will say about World of Color 1 though that is good about that show is I think a lot of the individual segments themselves are very well done. But when you put it together thematically as a show, it just does not work at all. Like the original World of Color, everything flowed like perfectly from one segment to the other and how it went. And then they just, I don't know, they didn't have any sort of thematic connection.
Cohesiveness. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just felt like a lot of cut and paste.
Yeah, and I remember those leading up to the World of Color, the first, version 1.0, leading up to that 2010 premiere date. I remember seeing all the presentations from Steve Davison and how this is going to tie into that and that's going to tie into this. And it was very, very planned out and mapped, And then now it's kind of like, you guys are right. It's very cut up and just kind of like chopped up and like things are just thrown in there. We'll have Moana, then we'll have Baby Yoda. It's like, okay, there's not that weaving anymore. And that was one of the things I love about the show we were just talking about with Wondrous Journeys is it's a very good, it's like a master class in doing that.
The original World of Color reminds me of, I don't know, Starship, if you've ever done a Disney cruise, but OG, you did.
I did one.
Okay. Did you do one of the older ships? The Magic. Okay, perfect. Perfect. That fits in well. So you've done the Magic, and OG, you've done the Wonder. Do you guys remember eating at Animator's Palette when they would do the show?
Yes.
The cohesiveness of how it tells the story, where it goes from something that's happy, and then it goes to sad, then it goes to villainous, and then it goes to the triumphs, and then out comes Mickey with the Fantasmic music to kind of sum it all up as the grand finale. That to me was great storytelling without actually having a full-fledged story, so to speak.
Yeah,
it tells the story with the colors and the music and the visuals. That's what the original World of Color was for me, anyways.
Yeah, you have to have some sort of clear, concise like path. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to have Marvel and Star Wars and all that incorporated into these shows with Disney animation and the classics, you got to figure a way to sort of like weave all that together in a cohesive way.
Is it just me? But it seems like every time that they mix Star Wars and Marvel into like Disney animation or Pixar, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. If you're going to do something Star Wars or Marvel, keep it Star Wars and Marvel. I don't know what it is. Anytime that you give it like that intermix with animation, it just throws it off for me.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you saw, there was a show in Shanghai where it was the latest one, I think. It came out a couple of years ago, where they just randomly threw in like this whole Marvel segment, but it's like this sort of Mickey's Mixed Magic-esque like Marvel music in there, and it's like a rave sort of thing. And then they go into the unknown after that, and it does not work well, in my opinion. Yeah.
What a mess. Yeah. It's not integrated easily, and they don't really execute it that well,
Yeah, like where I think the Marvel stuff works really well is that Marvel drone projection show in Paris on the Tower of Terror. That was great. That worked very well. It's because it's only Marvel. It's not everything else.
Yeah,
Exactly.
maybe that's what they should do going forward. You guys are right. Like maybe you do those drone shows, maybe do projection shows, the drone stuff, I mean, that's awesome, and you can do so much with that for Marvel,
Yeah.
And even Star Wars, really, if you want to do some Star Wars stuff with the drones, I mean, that would work.
I mean, I don't know if you saw, sorry to cut you off, but the Disney Springs show, Dreams That Soar, if you saw the preview for that, they showed off a thing of the drones making the Death Star, and it was pretty cool. And
they said it was supposed to be bigger than Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, they said the drones of the Death Star were bigger than Spaceship Earth in that show.
Jeez.
Which apparently the show comes out this Friday, I think. And it's going to have 800 drones. Which, for reference, the Universal show they just announced is going to have like 600. And the Disneyland Paris show is talking about 500. So it's going to be.
So being that you brought that up, Starship, let me ask you: do you feel that this is more like of a beta tester for Disney, as far as for Walt Disney World goes? That this is just the tip of the iceberg of doing a show like this on a grand scale for Disney Springs. Do you see it sticking around much longer than bringing it back to Disney Springs, or could you actually see them integrating it into the parks themselves at the resort?
Well, here's the thing about that. I don't know. I mean, I think this is like a beta test to see like how it'll do in Disney World, but I don't know if it's going to go to the parks simply because of the whole no-fly zone thing, and I don't know if they can do that. I remember a while ago there was like some sort of, I think, exception Disney like wanted for that, and I don't know if they got that or not. I think they can do it in Animal Kingdom, I think. And I know Disney Springs is out of it, obviously, because they're doing it there. But I think parts of Epcot and all of Magic Kingdom is, and maybe Hollywood Studios, is covered by that no-fly zone. So I don't know if they can do drones over there.
Well, and the one plus side that if it is true and they do have it for Animal Kingdom, that would give the perfect opportunity and excuse for them to keep the park open past 7 p.m. because then you could do a nighttime spectacular for Animal Kingdom. It has no interference with the animals whatsoever. There's no pyro, there's no fireworks. It's just drones. So they could have it in an area where it still won't be disruptive as far as like to the animals go. But I mean, they could possibly do something of that nature. I mean, can you imagine a giant Mufasa in the sky like how they have in the movie with the drones? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you get a little bit of that in Happily Ever After where he's on the castle, but in drones, that'd be cool. I didn't even think about that.
That'd be sick. Interesting, Starship. You brought up too 800 drones, and then the Universal show has 600, which is still a huge amount.
Yeah.
But that's surprising to me because that's a very ambitious show for basically a mall. I mean, that's what Disney Springs is, right? Pretty much a retail and shopping area. That's crazy ambitious.
Yeah, I mean, there's been rumors that I've read online that a lot of the Disney Springs businesses there are not happy about the foot traffic in Disney Springs, and that is not a lot, and they're paying a lot of rent to be in Disney World, and that's one of the main reasons they're doing this show, because they're not happy.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, it makes sense. I mean, I'm sure they're paying an arm and a leg to be there, and you know, that's interesting. A pretty reliable source. You heard this from Starship?
Well, I don't know how reliable it was, but I did hear it from the WGME Magic forums. So I don't know how reliable it was, but it was a lot of people, like insiders on there, who were saying that. So I would not be surprised about that.
Because it does surprise me when you were saying that, because I'm not really familiar with the drone show. When you were saying it's how many drones are involved in this, that's significant, and that's unusual for a show that's going to be over a retail and shopping thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there might be some truth to those rumors that the tenants are not happy, because it seems like they're going, as George says, balls to the wall over there with this drone show. And, you know, hopefully, like you were saying, George, hopefully this translates and transfers over to the parks. You know, let's get if we can. You know, Starship was saying there is that no-fly zone. I know out here in California we have that issue.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, imagine this though. Disneyland, I feel like, I mean, they're not getting any drone shows over there. I mean, no, I don't even think there's ever been any like rumors about it recently. I feel like everyone else is getting a drone show except Disneyland. But I think if Disneyland had a drone show, well, first of all, you could do it where, because they can't do fireworks on the off season during the week, you could do drones, so it could be like something else besides just the projections, right? And then imagine if you did like drones during World of Color, like that.
Oh yeah, it'd be beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The sky's the limit, no pun intended. You know, so it's incredible. Now, Starship, have you ever had the chance to see Remember Dreams Come True fireworks at Disneyland? Have you ever seen that one?
Not in person. A lot of times online, but not in person. No.
Okay, what did you think about it online?
Great show. I mean, it's probably I'd say it's the second best Disneyland fireworks show behind Wondrous Journeys. The only show in Disneyland that I've seen in person is Disneyland Forever, which is also a really good show. And I love the way that, first of all, the intro to that show is like the best intro they've ever done, I think.
Oh yeah.
Possibly like you get the orange groves on the side of the building. Great.
It was really cool of Disney actually to give us that homage. I thought that was really sweet of them, wasn't it? I was kidding. But go ahead, Starship. I do apologize. You're right though. The intro, in all seriousness, was amazing.
Yeah, the only thing about that show that is not so great is that they start off with this whole thing about the parks and it's Wall Street and all that, and then they go into the movies, but it's supposed to be about the park. And I understand they did that with Remember Dreams Come True, but then in the end they go with Let It Go, and then the lady comes on and she's like, Walt's dream could never end. Disneyland keeps growing. And I'm like, what does Frozen have to do with Disneyland growing?
Well,
That's nothing to do with it.
Absolutely, you're right on that. That was one of the things that bothered me so much, Starship, with that show is it was bookend by like the history of the parks, right? Like the future and the past of the park, and the whole body of the show was all just a bunch of clips from the movies. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, because the beginning is perfect, over 60 years ago, and a man with a dream, stood in the orange grove and he envisioned the Magic Kingdom. It was so beautiful. But then it goes right into like Tangled and Jungle Book. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, it doesn't really make any sense. And then it ends with, the park will always expand and grow. It's like, well, wait a minute, we're back to the park now.
I do agree with you both. Absolutely. Yeah, that drives me nuts. It's like pick a narrative, like of which direction you're going with. But I will say to Starship's comment of, well, what does Frozen have to do with the park? Well, with Disneyland Forward, if they add Arendelle, I guess Disney can circle back and say, hold my beer. This is what we were talking about.
We planned this all along. Disneyland forever. It was foreshadowing for World of Frozen, guys.
There we go. Exactly. It's funny. Yeah, Disneyland Resort has had some really good stuff. World of Color version 1.0 was great. Disneyland has had some great fireworks shows. The elephant in the room though is Fantasmic, right? At Disneyland. That show was incredible. That show, I remember, I think I was like 11 or 12 when it premiered. Yes, I'm old, but I was like 11 or 12, and I was in complete awe because we didn't have like the internet like we do now. You know what I'm saying? So now you pretty much know the stuff before you go see it. I was a kid. I mean, we didn't have all that, So I went to go watch this thing. I was blown away, like with the water effects and the projections, and it has the best soundtrack. That first version of that show was pretty much flawless.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit because speaking of Steve Davison, I am a fan of his work. I really am. I love what he did with World of Color and what have you. However,
are we going to get a big butt like Sir Mix-a-Lot right now, George?
But
there we go.
When it comes to the newer rendition of Fantasmic at Disneyland, I have several things that I find very cringy. One was the intro. Like the music did not match up with the choreography of Mickey. I love that hype up of like, you hear the imagination, you see the spotlights coming up, and then boom, Mickey appears and he does his dance with the music, but Mickey is like already standing there and the music's playing. It's like so out of sync, out of tune.
Right. He shows up at like the first dawn, but then like he shows up before they start doing the imagination thing.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't know how many like how many of those can you do in like one segment? It was like driving me nuts.
And then talking about like weird voiceovers on that show, the Pirates of the Caribbean, like the voiceovers of like
thank you like Elizabeth. Like I don't know who in the hell did the dubbing for her voice, but goddamn,
or like whatever direction she was given, it's terrible.
It was so bad.
Bad. And now we're getting rid of that now when it premieres in a few weeks. Right? We're getting rid of Pirates. We're getting Peter Pan back.
Yeah, Peter Pan.
The music and the effects during that segment is pretty cool. I mean, hype train.
Hype train.
Especially if you're coming out Pirates of the Caribbean and you're seeing that scene, I mean, that's got to be cool, right? But then, like, it's just that the voiceover just completely ruins it. And Peter Pan, it was so much better.
Is it just me? And again, no offense, and honestly, no disrespect to the voice over person who did Elizabeth Swann, but for me, it kind of sounded like an American trying to do a very bad rendition of a British dialect tone.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
it wasn't. They should have got an actual like British actress that kind of sounded like really close. Because I've even seen a lot of people on YouTube, like how they synchronize their voices to these actors and actresses. They sounded more better than
Right.
whoever they hired to do it. But yeah, I'm so glad they're getting the Peter Pan segment back.
Well, and here's the other
Perfect.
thing too, real quick before we move on too.
We're not moving on. I'm not done off of this yet. So.
exactly. Here's the thing too. We hear a lot about how Disney is taking stuff away, right? Because it's problematic, right? Like remember the Tinkerbell video we did? Because the meet and greet, the Tink meet and greet was being removed. Therefore, it's because
Oh my god.
Disney thinks Tinkerbell is problematic, which we completely just. I mean that is
Wait, can I say
totally.
something about that?
Sure.
Oh my god, they removed a sign for a meet and greet that wasn't there for years. Tinkerbell must be canceled.
She's canceled. Exactly. She's canceled. She's problematic, right? That must be why, right? But never mind the fact that she's in Happily Ever After. Never mind the fact that she's in the parade. Never mind the fact that, and this is my overall point, they're removing Pirates of the Caribbean in Fantasmic and bringing Peter Pan back.
Not to mention, over in Tokyo, they did a whole complete mini land within a land based off of Peter Pan and a ride based off of Tinkerbell. Now, I get it. It's part of Tokyo Disneyland, OLC, covers that, but it's still Walt Disney Imagineering that's making all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they have final approval on it, but I doubt Disney Imagineering would let OOC put something in there that's like considered problematic or whatever. I mean, Splash Mountain staying there aside, that's like, they wouldn't let them do that if Tinkerbell was some super problematic character.
And this is how people are actually contradicting themselves online. They're saying, oh, we're hearing rumors, it's circling around in the community. Disney is trying to force OLC to remove Splash Mountain, to put in Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Okay, so if Disney is trying to force OLC to take Splash Mountain to put in Tiana's, then why in the hell would they let them put in Tinkerbell if she's so problematic?
Exactly, dude. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's wild. Absolutely wild.
Okay, so going back to my Fantasmic rant. So now my next point that I have to make is, and this is a huge, actually Michael, our good friend Michael Ebba, our neighborhood friendlyhood Spider-Man, actually agrees with me on this, because when they do the A Friend Like Me segment, and Mickey comes out and he's already in his sorcerer outfit.
Oh, yeah.
That completely ruins the whole ending. Like, that is like the finale. That's the hyped up, the climax of Fantasmic, when he appears in his sorcerer outfit and you get that grand finale with the fireworks and the pyro. I don't want to see him mid-show standing there like jamming to A Friend Like Me in his sorcerer outfit.
And what was the point of that? Why does he need to be in a sorcerer outfit? Why can't he be in literally any other outfit, and that would make more sense in the show? And then not right after that, but towards the villain scene, why is he on top of the cabin when he's talking to the magic mirror? Well, first of all, why is he talking to the magic mirror? Second of all, why is he on top of the cabin? He should be down below if he's supposed to be. It's supposed to happen at the climax.
Yeah. Okay, well, and also to your point, Starship. Yeah, why is he even talking to the mirror? That portion of the show shouldn't even exist. That portion should be the transformation of the evil queen into the hag.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like he gets sucked into the mirror, and then boom, she disappears as the old hag. It's like, what? Like, I don't like.
She's supposed to transition to the hag. I will. Let's. I mean, I don't want to rant too much about Fantasmic.
Oh no! Please, let's shout.
But I will say there are some, I think, good upgrades in that show that were very well done. I think the upgrade fountains were great. The World of Color style fountains that they threw in there. The upgrade to the projections on the screen, I think, were really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like in the beginning when they have the Fantasia opening, not where Mickey is going ooh but when he goes when they're doing they throw on the buckets of them splashing the water.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I like that a lot, because in the original it's just him it's cool too. He's controlling the water, But I think having the buckets throwing the water at the screen and the water coming at you, I think is better personally than the original version there.
Yeah. And I will say this too on a positive note, because as much as I rant about like the negative stuff that I don't like, some of the changes, I always like to end it on a positive. Fantasmic for me anyway, I think is the best nighttime show Disney has ever produced. Like whether, in the parks or what have you. I mean, I can't speak for the international parks because those shows look phenomenal. Like no matter what the international parks do, I feel like they could always do it right.
They do, but Tokyo Disney actually had a very rare L with their Fantasmic. I don't even think they even have it anymore. That was like one of the worst versions, but that's a rare L
right.
for Tokyo.
Well, yeah, not necessarily for Fantasmic. I meant just like overall, just their nighttime shows.
Yeah,
because they do something. They do something now where it's like a parade on water, like in Tokyo Disney Sea.
Kind of. It's a bunch of stuff. And personally, I don't think that show really works very well. I've never been to Tokyo Disney Sea, so maybe it's better. I'm sure it's better in person. I'm sure it works better. But from what I saw of, I think it's called Believe Sea of Dreams. The video I saw of that just did not look great. They have like these barges that go out on the water. It's like they're not. I guess they're more boats than they are barges because they like go around. And they have like World of Color like fountains on them, but they have like these LED screens. It's kind of like Harmonious, but they move around. They have like people on them, but like they fold in, like they go into each other like this. Like there's a screen here and a screen here, sort of, and it goes like into each other. But then like,
I know the feeling.
Cut off. But then like stuff gets cut off on the screen, and it just.
You know what? Actually, now that you mention that, I have heard people say if you stay at the, I don't know the actual name of it, but the Tokyo Disney Sea Hotel.
Yeah, that's you projections on the hotel.
If you get it like a balcony room that looks out into the park, I've heard that it's a much better experience than actually being in the park viewing that show. I don't know how much that's true. I haven't been to Tokyo yet, but that's some of the reviews that I've heard a lot of people say. It's actually better to watch it from your room in the balcony than actually down into the park itself. But I wanted to go back to Fantasmic, but I will say what Disney did with Fantasmic, especially with Disneyland's version, is incorporating it into the park itself.
Oh yeah.
It's you walk around the park, you're basically seeing the set pieces all day, but you don't really necessarily see them as that. It's like, oh, you just look over and it's Tom Sawyer Island. And then when night falls, it comes alive. And the park becomes the production, not the production becomes the park.
Well, and that's the thing I love about it, because that's why I think the fireworks are so popular, is because it happens in the park. It's the park you enjoyed all day. And then there's a magical moment in front of the castle where it all comes alive. And Fantasmic was kind of the same thing, where it's like the park you enjoy during the day, the Rivers of America, New Orleans Square, all that stuff, and it comes alive at night. It's a very organic, very magical experience, where in Florida, I enjoyed Florida for what it was. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy how they hype you before the show and they play all the techno Disney songs. It's fun. It is. But it's very much of a show. It's like you're walking into an amphitheater like you're going to go see Shamu or something, right? So it's kind of like that vibe, and it's cool, but it's not the same. I don't know. Disneyland's, the way it's set up, how they utilize the park, is really something special. I really like that a lot. I do.
Yeah.
I think it sets it apart,
Personally, I mean, I'll say I've never seen the Disneyland show version of Fantasmic in person. So maybe it's different. I'm sure it's different in person, but I've seen the Disney World version a few times. I saw the update that they did. I thought their update at first, when I saw it, I did not like it, but it grew on me. And I think I like that they kept the original music. They kept the transformation, the witch to the old hag, and they kept the original princesses and all that. I think they could have done a little more with that update, because it feels like they spent all the money on fixing all the infrastructure of the lights and the lasers and all that, and they didn't leave any more room to upgrade like the rest of the show. You know what I mean?
I would have thought for sure for how long that show has been down, because of
dragon,
like,
right?
yeah, get a better dragon. That's at least what they could have done. It didn't have to maybe be like an exact copy of Disneyland's, but let's update it. Like we got like an early like 1990s dragon. It's basically an oversized Jim Henson, puppet.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and we'll see very curious what our Fantasmic looks like at Disneyland when it comes back in a few weeks, because we're not going to have a dragon this time around. I'm hearing they're doing a dragon, but it's not going to premiere with this, premiere in a few weeks. But we'll see. We'll see if it works.
I'm very interested to see how they do that. Part of me feels like they're just going to do Maleficent on a stick and have her set the lake on fire. If they even do that, I don't know, because the whole dragon catcher on fire. I don't know if they're going to set the lake on fire anymore. But at the same time, I think they might try to redo all of it in that whole scene. But I don't know. We'll just have to see. There.
I think that they'll still use like the lake on fire, so to speak, or the river on fire. I just think the execution of how they do it, I think rather than have like a gulf of pyro coming out of the mouth, I think that may be a little bit risky. I think they might do like a shooting kind of like of a, I don't even know like what the technical term would be, where something like pops out of the dragon's mouth and then it makes it look like the illusion of setting the lake or the river on fire, and it has to be timed, perfectly for it for the effect to look realistic.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what they do in Disney World, where there's a little bit of fire that comes out of it, and then the lake goes on fire. Before they used to have it so that like a little firework came out and like actually hit the lake or river, and then that would ignite it. But I think they stopped that because there was concerns that like the wind might blow it off into the audience. So that never happened, but I think they didn't do that because of that. But yeah, what happens in Disney World is that the little thing, the mouth catches on fire a little bit, and then the entire lake goes from there. Who knows what they're going to do in Disneyland, though.
I will say when Fantasmic comes back on May 24th, you're going to get like an eruption of crowds hooting and cheering, and then even after that, then when the dragon comes back, however long that takes, that's going to even be a bigger, bigger update.
Now let's talk a little bit about Walt Disney World Entertainment. Now I'm not as familiar, full disclosure, as familiar with Walt Disney World nighttime stuff. I saw Happily Ever After, and I think that's it actually. Well, I saw Happily Ever After and Fantasmic in Hollywood Studios. So that's as far as I can go.
And Epcot Forever.
Oh, and Epcot Forever, yes. So I saw 3 nighttime spectaculars. Okay.
Well, you saw the ones that were playing at the time, so you saw that.
Yeah, exactly. Not a whole lot, but a little something. But George, I'll start with you, then I'll go down to Starship. Thoughts, favorites, least favorites? Where do you stand?
So for me, as of right now, what is playing Happily Ever After is like the top dog right now at Walt Disney World. Is the GOAT. I was very, very disappointed and upset when Wishes was going away. Wishes was like my fireworks show for the longest time. And I thought there's nothing that can, take the place of Wishes, and I thought, what can I even have my farewell Wishes t-shirt still, with Jiminy Cricket on it. And I thought nothing is going to be able to replace this. And sure enough, Happily Ever After came online and, definitely exceeded my expectations for sure. So I would definitely say Happily Ever After for me right now is my number one at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I would say I might go a bit further than you in saying I think Happily Ever After right now, internationally, like with every show that's going on right now in all the parks, I think it's the best show they have right now. I might say it's even like the best show, honestly, ever. I love Happily Ever After so much. I think it might be like the greatest fireworks show ever. I love it so much.
And the soundtrack is phenomenal. You gotta love the soundtrack.
The way it builds up the tank with the you can fly, and then it goes into the finale is the great. It's the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest finale to a fireworks show they've ever done. I no disrespect to Wondrous Journeys, but I do think Happily Ever After is better.
Okay.
Even though Wondrous Journeys is great, but I think Happily Ever After it's very close. But
Yeah, I think Happily Ever After kind of has a little more evergreen to it, so to speak, where like Wondrous Journeys can still go very far. And as I said, I love Wondrous Journeys, but being that it has a connection to Disney 100, it kind of can get a little bit, I don't want to say outdated, but just because it has to play to the homage of like the first 100 years of animation and Winnie the Pooh saying, can we start all over again? It feels like it was appropriate at that time for Wondrous Journeys, where Happily Ever After, it's been going on for how long, and it still feels like the first time that it came, out to the public.
Yeah. Well said. What about you, Starship?
Oh, we went over it when you were.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, now Starship, you have a tier list that
I do.
Let's go ahead and share your screen because this is interesting.
Okay, present.
Yes. I like this. This is cool.
Oh, did I click the wrong? I think I clicked the wrong button. Wait, did I not do it? Okay, there we go.
There we go. Perfect.
So, as you can see here, we have all the different shows here. We didn't talk about all of these, but a lot of them we did talk about. So let's just start from the first thing. So, Happily Ever After, I would say this is S tier.
I agree.
I would agree. Absolutely. Beautiful show.
All right, Wishes. Where would you
put that, George? I haven't seen that one, so it's not fair for me to judge it.
I'm trying to see of everything. For me, I'd put Wishes at A.
Yeah, I think it's really good for what it is and when it came out at the time. But I think now it's just not sort of up to par with a lot of the modern shows. I mean, it's better than a lot of them. It's a lot better than a lot of the modern shows, actually. But it's just, I think just Happily Ever After just really, it goes the extra mile there.
Yeah.
So we have, what is this? Celebrate America. That's the 4th of July show. I'm not sure if this is for Disneyland, Disney World.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never seen that one in person.
Yeah, I've only seen it on video. It looks cool, but we can just skip that one for now. Oh, look, our favorite show, Enchantment.
Enchantment. There we go.
That's a big hard F.
Really? That low?
I wouldn't put it F. I mean, the only thing that brings it up slightly above F is, I think, that Walt intro they added.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I think it's better than Mickey's Mixed Magic.
See, here's the thing. I would prefer Mickey's Mixed Magic over Enchantment.
Really?
I love the soundtrack. I'm a dancer, so it's like when I hear like that music, I get that fist bumping going. It's like, I don't know. I enjoy it. Like I would put Mickey. I think if they put Mickey's Mixed Magic over at DCA, I think it would be more welcoming than having it at Disneyland Park.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's more of a DCA thing.
Yeah.
I hate Mickey's Mixed Magic, so I hate that. I hate that music with the remix. Friends Like Me is terrible. I hate that show. I mean, I haven't seen it in person, but just from video, it's terrible.
Okay, so Enchantment, I'd put it at a what was the thing? A D.
You're going D? You're going Starship D?
Yeah, I'd say D. I mean, only because of the Walt intro, though.
Yeah.
And that's slightly better than Mickey's Mixed Magic. That's the only reason for me at least, that's the only reason I put it at D.
Anything with Walt in it pretty much gives it a little bit of a couple points up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have Not So Spooky Spectacular, which is the Halloween show that they currently have. I don't know if you guys have seen this one.
Is that the parade for?
No, that's the fireworks. It has
Oh, gotcha.
It's new. Well, it came out 2019. It's what replaced Hollow Wishes. It has the Jack Skellington like puppet on a stage, like in the front. Maybe you've never seen it before, but it has a puppet of Jack Skellington on the actual stage, the castle stage where they do the stage shows, but it's during the fireworks, and it is pretty cool. The projections are great. The fireworks are great. It sounds like you've never seen it, so we can skip that one if you want.
Yeah, I have not seen that one either. Unfortunately,
We have Fantasy in the Sky, Walt Disney World, which I've only seen it on video.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was like back in the early, like the late 90s, early 2000s for me.
And we had that at Disneyland, but that's old school Disneyland, you know?
They only do this one for not 4th of July, New Year's now. And they do the 360 thing in Magic Kingdom with the perimeter fireworks. I think it's really cool. It's really good. But I wouldn't put it at, say, Happily Ever After.
Maybe would you say like a B or C?
Yeah. I'd say B. I mean, the original version is probably C tier, but the New Year's version is like a B tier, I'd say.
Okay. That's fair.
Let's just skip right to Epcot Forever, shall we?
Okay, so I would say Epcot Forever would be a C.
Yeah.
Because it's like it did its job, what it needed to do. I like how it paid tribute to all like the older like Epcot attractions with the soundtrack and stuff. But at the end of the day, that's basically what it is. It was a filler show.
Yeah. And Epcot Forever, they're really not kidding with that Forever name coming back all the like 5 different times.
Yeah. It was cool. See, for me, it's kind of hard to judge because I've never seen the other, like I never saw Illuminations or anything like that, you know? So it's like, this is my only Epcot Lagoon show I've seen. But a C, I would say is appropriate, you know?
I mean, it's better than I thought. It was better in person than it was watching it online, I gotta say. But it's still, it's okay. It's nothing spectacular. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Another Epcot show, huh? Luminous.
We have the latest fireworks show in any of the parks, Luminous, the Symphony of Us. So, I've never seen this in person because I've not been there in the last 6 months, but I've seen it on video, and I think it's really good. I wouldn't say it's not Reflections of Earth. Honestly, I don't think anything will ever be, but I think it's really good for what it is. I think for what they were given in trying to replace Harmonious and trying to make it 360 view, not have the barges out in the lagoon, I think it was pretty good. And I really I didn't like it at first with the music and all that, but it's grown on me. I like it. I'd give it A to B tiers where I'd put it.
That's what I was thinking, honestly, because I wouldn't say it's like right in that fine line of like a low A, high B.
Yeah. Like A minus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll round up. We'll do an A- for this one.
Yeah, we'll put it right below Wishes.
Yeah. Not bad.
Harmonious is
Harmonious, from what I've seen, I would probably give it a D. And the only thing keeping it from an F for me is I do appreciate the effort. They did try to pack a lot of technology into that show. Yeah. Unfortunately, they didn't really consider how it looks during the day and things like that.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I could see it as a D because I mean, here's my thing. I think honestly, to call something F means it's a complete disaster from start to finish.
Yeah,
I feel like even if some things have moments that have like, okay, that was pretty cool, that was pretty good, and I can't say that Harmonious was complete garbage. You know, like some of the music was really good, you know, done well. I just think the execution of what they were trying to accomplish, it just didn't work well. So yeah, I'd give it a D.
Well, I think. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
you can
go ahead.
Okay, so I think Harmonious is. I think Harmonious, the show itself, without all the, if you take out the whole barges in the lagoon all day and the whole viewing issues where you can only see it from one spot. When I saw it in person, I saw it in the very front of the park, you know, where you got the view of like the center thing. Like I got what all the promotional videos you see. And I thought it was really good from there. But if you watch it from like anywhere else, it wasn't that good, and it just doesn't fit Epcot really. I mean, you could put it in different languages and then just say, "Oh, it's Epcot because it's different languages," but it's just a bunch of Disney music. It's not.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think the show itself was good, just not in Epcot and without all the barges. And there's too many things holding it back from being a good show overall.
And the technology should be invisible. I mean, as invisible as you can get it. And this, they didn't put any effort into. I mean, it was like out there, like just So
And they tried to do that whole like, oh, we're gonna cover it up with the fountains, and it just
didn't
that
work.
was awful. D tier. I'm putting it below Enchantment because at least Enchantment you have to see. There's Enchantment didn't bother you during the daytime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, this is Reflections of Earth. You can't see; it's a little small here, but
Illuminations.
yeah,
That's S
Yeah.
tier for me.
S tier. I'm debating whether to put it above Happily for me personally, but
Mm.
What do you think, George?
I still have to put Happily first.
me
Actually,
too. I think while Illuminations is incredible, I think Happily Ever After just beats it a little bit,
yeah.
just in pure everything. Okay, this is Heartbeat of Freedom, which is the 4th of July tag after the fireworks in Epcot, which, I mean, really all the show is just like a bunch of American songs with fireworks going off.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's
Yeah.
really that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fireworks are great, but I wouldn't say it's anything special. So we could just leave it out. Like, I think all the seasonal stuff we can just leave out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we have the New Year's Eve show. We can leave that out. Disney Movie Magic is that's just some projection show on the
Yeah, I
Chinese
remember
theater.
watching that. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with Wonderful World of Animation. Oh, Star Wars Galactic Spectacular. This was interesting. I thought it was pretty. I don't know if you've seen it. I've seen it online, but I thought it was pretty.
Refresh my memory. Which one was that again?
This is the Star Wars fireworks show in Hollywood Studios.
Oh, yeah. Okay. God, yeah. Jeez, I forgot about that. Actually, I actually quite like that. I thought that was very clever. Was it like best? I'd put it like in between like A and B, right?
Yeah, I'd put it like it's definitely above Fantasy in the
Yeah.
Sky. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd put it there. Okay, Fantasmic Walt Disney World. Where would we put this on our ranking here?
Okay, so I don't think it's as good as Disneyland's,
Yeah,
but it's not bad though either.
Yeah. It's
I'd
better
give
than
it-
Harmonious. I'll give it definitely.
right?
For me, I'd put it in the A rank.
Yeah, I would too. I would
Yeah.
too. I think A is
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, I put it probably below Luminous. Well, I
I'd
think
actually,
Luminous is
for
above.
me, it would be that's where
Yeah.
I would put it.
Yeah. Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam. Oh, that's the Christmas Hollywood Studio. I've never seen that show. I don't even think I've seen it on video. So I don't know. I'll just leave it out. Unless you guys want to rank it.
No, I haven't.
No,
Honestly, I
it's
haven't
good.
even seen it on video.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh, Rivers of Light.
oh, that's
Forgotten.
interesting.
Okay, that one. Well, that one had a lot of technicality issues to it because
Yeah.
I
Fun.
can see where they were trying to go with it. I mean, they actually built a freaking outdoor theater for it. And that was another thing that allowed people to stay in the park after hours for Animal Kingdom was because of Rivers of Light. But it kind of missed the mark. But I couldn't really say it was a bad show, to be honest with you. I mean, but I would kind of give it like a C rank.
Yeah,
I
the
would
floats
say-
were beautiful.
Oh yeah. I saw it when I saw this show. I saw the original version. Like I think when it first came out when it had all the performers and it was like there wasn't a lot of IP, or I don't know if there was IP in there or not, but I thought it was really good. I thought it fit Animal Kingdom very well. I think I might go a bit further and put it in B tier because I think it was really good for what it was. Just like you said, a lot of technical issues. I don't know. I'd put it in B tier personally, but
And there was no IP in that show, if I remember correctly, right? It wasn't, or was there?
I don't remember. There may have been like
There may have been like subtle
Yeah.
like references, but I don't think it was like full heavily IP.
Yeah.
When they I know when they redid it to like the We Are One version, it was like all IP, but the original version was I don't think there was much IP in it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
I would do
B?
like a low B. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Tree of Life Awakenings. This is just the Tree of Life.
Just the light,
direction
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Would be
Yeah.
nice if we could have it, but
Yeah. Okay, Disneyland Forever.
Oh, what are you saying? What are you thinking, George?
yeah, see, for me, I love that intro.
Me too.
But at the same time, it was like
But
everything
then
in between. Like the beginning and
Yeah.
the ending was perfect.
Right, it was
Yeah.
the body of the show, and it wasn't like the body was bad. It just felt like two different shows.
Yeah, the body is for a fireworks show. The body is really good.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work as a Disneyland 60th anniversary show.
So if I had to
Okay.
say, it would be an A minus B plus kind of thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, would you put it above Luminous?
Oh yeah, I think I would.
Yeah,
No,
I
you-
would.
you-
Yeah, I would put
Yeah.
it above. I would put it above what's the one before Luminous? What's the one?
Disney World's
Before that-
Fantasmic.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, I would put it like in between Disney World's Fantasmic and Luminous.
okay.
Perfect.
Mickey's Mixed Magic. Oh,
Oh, I know where you're gonna put that. Now, I will say this. Now, when I say I like Mickey's Mixed Magic, it's not like, oh my gosh, that's S tier. I just think that it's. I mean, I know Starship, you'd probably put it in F. I'd put it in D. I mean, that's where I would put it, but
yeah, I'd put it in like I'd put it below
Z.
Harmonious.
you put it on
Z.
Well, and I think for this show, yeah, some of it's catchy. I would agree with you, George. And I think it's cute for the kids. The kids really seem to like it.
As I said, I think if it would have started out at DCA, I think what really put a bad taste in everybody's mouth about it was the fill in
Yeah.
at Disneyland Park, and I just think that's what kind of threw everything off.
Well, another thing about it was that they kept it around forever. It was originally only supposed to be for Mickey's birthday, and then they kept it for well after that, and they brought it back this year, and it replaced Wondrous Journeys again. And how can you go from Wondrous Journeys to this?
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd put it in D tier right here.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
And really, F tier is something that's really hard to accomplish because every show,
Yeah.
some glimmers of goodness. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, it would have to be like complete like garbage, like from
Yeah.
beginning to end and everything in between for it to be
Yeah.
F.
Yeah. I'll give Mickey's Mixed Magic this in that the lighting I think is very well used, and I think some of the projections are nice.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, I wouldn't put much else to it.
Absolutely.
Wondrous Journeys, I think we can all go
S.
to S tier.
S,
S tier.
I'd put it like right in between.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Right there. Yep. S tier for sure. Absolutely.
Remember Dreams Come True. I'd say this is S tier.
That's S tier.
Yep.
Now
I'll put it.
This is a tough one.
ooh. I would definitely say
It is hard.
see,
Oh man, I don't know, and it's hard for me because I have a Disneyland bias because I'm a Disneyland person. But
I
I'm
would
trying to
say it's
separate that.
before. I would say it's before Illuminations, but I'm trying to see where it balances out with Wondrous Journeys. That's where I'm.
Right.
See, the thing about Disneyland, the thing I like about Remember Dreams Come True is the creative uses of the firework shells, like how the pirates it look like the cannonballs and stuff.
Yeah,
And it's a celebration of Disneyland.
I think honestly, I would put it after Happily.
Really like
Yeah.
like over here.
No, like after
Oh,
Happily
here?
Ever. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
fair.
I personally wouldn't put it above Illuminations for me, but we're going majority rules here, so we'll put it here.
And really, at the end of the day, it's kind of like anything in the S tier
Yeah.
is freaking amazing.
You're
And
basically,
whether you're before or after, it's still all good.
Yeah. Disneyland, Fantasmic.
That's definitely
S
yes.
tier. S tier,
That's-
except for 2.0, which I'd put maybe like B tier. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
No, I would agree. Yeah, the
Everything.
2.0 took it down.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a hit, but that first version was such a
Yeah.
goat.
yeah, I'll put it right there, I'd say, for me personally. But
Yeah.
how about you guys feel?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
that's fine.
Okay.
Fair.
Together Forever.
Uh, See,
I
here's the thing. I enjoy this fireworks show. I think it's really nice. But I feel like it's just enough because it is a specialty fireworks show.
Yeah.
It's not like where it like plays. So I would say
I like it. I actually think the updated version they did for this year was a lot better than the
I agree
original
with
version.
you. I would put it in the B.
Yeah, B tier. I wouldn't put it above Rivers of Light though.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right there.
That works.
Original Fantasy in the Sky at Disneyland, the one that started it all.
Oh man, that's a beautiful show. But the thing, it's hard to watch that show again because we've come such a long way with these fireworks shows.
Yeah.
With the synchronization and all that, where that show was really just kind of like music and fireworks, but it wasn't like timed like it is today.
No.
I'd give it. Oh man, I'll give
Would
it.
you put it in?
I was gonna give it an A. I was gonna give it an A because it's so tied to the park and just the nostalgia of it all.
Yeah.
It could just kind of go like hit at the back of the caboose of A.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Halloween Screams. That's the Disneyland Halloween show.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen that one. I've heard good things, but never seen it.
Okay, we'll just skip it. Believe in Holiday Magic.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one's a really good one. I haven't seen it in person, but
Me neither.
That one's kind of that's hard. It's like A plus, like bottom of the S tier. That's tough. For me, that's where it would sit, somewhere in between A and S.
I'd put it maybe for me. I've never seen it in person, but I would put it slightly below Wishes personally.
Okay. No, that's a fair placement. That's a fair placement. Absolutely. It's a great show. It's probably one of the greatest holiday shows they've ever done.
World of Color 1. Ooh. That is a show that exists.
It is. It is a show.
I'd put it in C for me.
Yeah. C.
It's an Epcot Forever style kind of show. Huh? Kind of like that vibe, right?
Yeah.
It's like a very filler, kind of like, okay, mid. Yeah. C is.
And yet that stayed in Wondrous Journeys and whatever. Original World of Color, I think.
That's S tier for me. I feel like,
Yeah.
honestly, that put DCA on the map as far as keeping people in the park.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
I'd put that right. It's not Fantasmic, but
I'd say right after. Yeah.
That's perfect. Well, that's a solid. That's a solid. Now I think that covers them all. That's wow. Well, I mean, we have a lot of S's and A's. I mean, that's. I mean,
they haven't really done that many bad ones. I mean, there's a few really. I mean, these three. There's a few bad ones, but I'd say overall, nighttime spectaculars are very good at like every Disney resort. Really, they're all very good.
Yeah, Starship. I want to ask you: did you ever see online Light Magic?
No, I never watched. I heard it was I heard it was terrible, and the only good thing I've heard about that show was that the music was good. But I've seen photos of it in like history videos of why it was terrible, but I've never actually sat down and like watched it.
Yeah, and what you heard is pretty much spot on. It was a bad parade, but the music was great. The music was great. The soundtrack was an absolute banger. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I heard let me stop that. Okay. So I did see that is the reason why they have the lights along the parade route, I believe.
Right.
It's because of light magic, but other than that, I don't know much else about that. Other than that, it replaced electrical parade, and it was known for being terrible.
Yeah, and then they installed fiber optics in the buildings on Main Street, you know.
Oh yeah,
And that was a
right.
cool effect, but you know. And I think actually they never removed them. I think they ended up just painting over them is what I'm hearing. So that's kind of funny.
Oh, fun fact about that show I read is that apparently that's where Steve Davison got his career started. He was like I think like a production designer or something on that, something like that. Or I know that was his first thing that he did was light magic, which is
That's
kind of
interesting.
crazy considering he did, World of Color and he did Luminous recently and a bunch of other stuff.
Now, is he as active in the company as he once was? I don't hear about him as much as I used to. Do we know like where he stands?
I think, as I know, he had some health conditions. He had to take a leave of absence to take care of it. So I believe he's better now. He's still active in the company, but I don't think as a big presence like he used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that much about personally anything about that. I do know he did Luminous and Harmonious, and I think his official title is VP of Parades and Spectaculars. I don't know if that's what it still is, but that's what it was a while ago. I don't know. Who knows what he does now?
Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
something.
Yeah. So let's pivot now to the future of Disneyland Resort. We got this whole Disneyland Forward thing. And we talk a lot about Disneyland Forward here on the channel, but it's interesting whenever we get a new guest on, I like to ask, our guests their opinion on this, because every time we have, right, George, every time we have a new person come on, it's a new perspective, an interesting take. We get a lot of new ideas and stuff. I want to dip into that, and then we'll also kind of dip into what we think might be coming to Walt Disney World, because Disney World's got all kinds of stuff going on too, with Beyond Big Thunder and Animal Kingdom and stuff like that. So, start with Disneyland. Starship, what are your thoughts on Disneyland Forward? What do you think realistically is even coming to the Disneyland Resort? Now, it is a 30 to 40 year project. So, I mean, in the near term, what do you think we're getting?
Well, I definitely think the first thing that's probably going to happen, or that we know is going to happen, is the Eastern Gateway parking garage and moving the bus area over there. And then after that, I mean, I don't know what it would be after that. Maybe I don't know if they're going to do the Hollywood Land redo thing where they extend it out into the bus loading area, or if they would do Avatar. I'm not sure what they would do first in that order there.
And so now you don't think that Avatar would go into that Hollywood backlot? You think it would be more Simba lot?
Oh, no. That would definitely be. I think that'd be Simba lot.
Yeah.
When you look at that concept art, there's no way they could put it over there. I mean, maybe if I don't know how they.
I will say this: they could do it, but I feel like the aesthetics of the land and what they want to do with it would be very limited. I feel like it would be very compacted over there for some reason, even though there's a lot of room. But I think in comparison to the Simba lot, I think they could have a lot more breathing room. And I was talking to Ebba about this, and he and I kind of see the same wavelength, that there is a possibility where while they're starting the Eastern Gateway, which I'm for sure that they're going to do this on June 7th. Like the 30-day mark is almost upon us, and I feel like they're going to start cranking this very quickly. But I do feel like if they start closing off sections, that they can possibly, if they wanted to, start work on one of the parking lots while they're in the mix of doing the Eastern Gateway, kind of offsetting the where the cars would park to other means of the property. Right. They could do that, so that way they're not essentially waiting for the Eastern Gateway to be completed before they actually start a project.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And here's too, in terms of Avatar, the more and more I think about it, and Starship, you're absolutely right. I think it's going to be that Simba lot, because and hey, Bricky made a great video about this too. We reacted to it, where it was like, it's a lot more work to cram it into the Hollywood backlot, because you have the monorail beam and you have certain elements in there that you would have to work around. Where Symbol Lot is fresh. Like it's just a parking lot. You can start building there and you can, it's easy peasy, compared to that Hollywood lot. Hollywood lot will likely be something, if they're going to do Hollywood lot or replace the Hollywood lot, I think it would be like the Zootopia thing or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Another urban setting,
Yeah, definitely something urban over there. I think definitely Avatar in the Symbol Lot, so that you get like that fresh, clean slate to do literally basically whatever you want over there. And there's no restrictions when you put it over there. I mean, there is sort of where you have to do the bridge going over Disneyland Drive. I want to say this.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like the only thing. And how are you gonna fit that thematically into DCA? Who knows how they would even think about doing that. Unless they want to change the name of the park, like you guys have been saying, to Cinematic Adventure or whatever,
Yeah, that's my big question mark. More than anything, is how are they going to tie this thing into California Adventure? Because even the other stuff, right? Like even like the Avengers Campus, there's loose ties, very thin ties to California. Like the Stark Automotive Company that Web Slinger sits in was based in California. There's like a whole backstory on it. I think it was like on the website or whatever. It was like an old California auto manufacturing plant or something, and the Doctor Strange thing was also, it had a California tie to it. There's all this stuff, very thin though, very, very thin, but they attempted to weave it in there. Pandora, I have no idea what they're going to do.
Well, Starship, let me ask you this, because I had brought this up to OG, and I think I brought it up to Ebba as well, but we've done a video recently on some of the wording that Disney has been releasing from their website, saying, okay, since the very beginning, when talking about Pandora, with Iger mentioning it during the quarterly earnings, it's at the Disneyland Resort. No, it's at Disneyland Park. No, it's at DCA. No, it's not at DCA. They're not really giving full-on answers as to where this is going, and it's like they usually don't do this, and it's like, why are they doing this? What is the big kept secret as why they're beating around the bush, and why are they kind of giving us these little Easter egg hints? Is it going into Disneyland Park? Is it going into DCA? Could this essentially be where it's not going into either one, and could this be like the beginning mark for Disneyland's third gate?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. I mean, all the rumors seem to be pointing towards DCA, and I think that makes the most sense. I think DCA needs a lot of expansion. I think DCA needs expansion way more than Disneyland does.
Absolutely.
I mean, they just got Runaway Railway and Galaxy's Edge and all that. So, and when was the last time GCA got like an actual expansion? I think, was it Cars Land that was the last actual expansion at that park?
Yep, 2012.
Yeah. It's like, what, 12 years ago now. That park needs actual expansion, and I think putting Avatar in the Symbol Lot is probably the best way to do that. The third gate thing is interesting because we were talking about before we started recording was the Fresh Baked did a video about Disneyland Forward and how in the the Toy Story lot, they want in the concept art they showed the shopping center thing, Disney Springs thing or whatever. But what Fresh Baked pointed out was that in the Toy Story lot, the concept art that showed the shopping center is smaller, significantly smaller than the actual size of the Toy Story lot. So that was very interesting. And he said that the sound ordinances might make it difficult to put a theme park there because there's residential right next to that parking lot, which that might make it difficult.
Well, now Disneyland or Disney, they did address some of that. I don't think necessarily with the Toy Story lot, but in general, they were talking about how with those sound ordinances, they're gonna do show buildings that butt up against, like for example, for the Symbol Lot, not for Symbol Lot, I'm sorry, Yeah, I think a simple lot, or some of the land that they have over there by the Pixar Hotel and Disneyland Hotel and all that, butt up against Walnut, which have houses. So
Right.
they were saying at these pop-up events for Disneyland Forward when they were trying to get this approval, that what they're going to do is on the outer rim towards the residentials, they're going to build show buildings. So it'll be a giant, massive, like, Rise of the Resistance kind of big boxy building. And then the other stuff that makes more noise will be towards the inner part of the park, and further away from so they might do something like that over there. They might even, for the third park, they might even have like a hotel as part of like that berm, that blocks.
That's what I was actually going to mention with Dave's analogy of everything, where they kind of show like that kind of Disney Springs thing. But it also makes me wonder, we're under the assumption that that's going to be like a shopping kind of plaza thing based off of that concept art. What if that concept art is actually a kind of like mini hotel / resort kind of thing that could be adjacent to another Disneyland hotel, and then you can kind of offset that area with a third gate? Because again, as you had mentioned, Starship, and that I also had noticed in the Fresh Bake video too, when he placed that concept piece onto the Google Earth rendering of the area, it's only about 30%
of the whole area.
Area.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it just seems like there has to be a park element in that lot, because I'm not to say they won't have a hotel or something. They probably will, but like, it's 75 acres. You're never going to get that much land in Anaheim ever again, and to waste it on basically another Disney Spring or downtown Disney, it just seems like a waste. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, with the color coding that they were showing during the Disneyland Forward presentation at the Anaheim City Council Commission, it showed the Toy Story parking lot kind of having that intermix, that it could very well be theme park space tied with hotel space.
Yeah. I think that's the route they're probably going to go with that. But it's interesting. Oh, go ahead, Starship. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I believe on the zoning thing they showed for that, of the image with all the zoning or whatever, I think it said on the Toy Story theme park overlay, which I'm not sure what that really means, because it's when they showed the zoning for the Simba lot and the whatever lot it is on the Disneyland side, it just says theme park, but over there it says theme park overlay, and it had like striped lines of orange representing theme park. I'm not sure what that means.
What would that mean? And actually, you're right, Starship. And I think even the Pixar Place Hotel had that little box where the Pixar Hotel is.
Yeah.
It was theme park overlay. So does that mean like themed hotels and things like that?Maybe.
Yeah, but you think that would just be hotel,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know what that means. And then they also asked for.
Oh,
go ahead. Okay.
Maybe it means it could be like mixed use, where you could put hotels and theme parks in there. Maybe that's what that means. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case, because that would be. I just think 75 acres is especially in Anaheim. You can't waste that on just shopping and stuff. But here's the other thing too. They asked the city to get approval for a height limit to extend the height limit for themed icons or whatever to 300 feet.
Right.
And that was part of that Toy Story lot. So that indicates a theme park thing. So we'll see. But here's the thing too, is that third park, like I feel like that's far off. Like that's towards probably the end, like, right? That's like 20 years, 30 years from now, probably.
That's why I don't agree with some of the people who say there's never going to be a third park in Anaheim. There's never going to be a fifth Walt Disney World gate. Like, maybe, definitely not anytime in the near future. But I think maybe in like 20, 30 years, I think, yes, eventually we're going to get a fifth gate at some point. We're going to get a third gate at some point, just not soon,
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Because, these theme parks, if you add that third gate at Disneyland, that almost instantaneously increases your hotel occupancy. You know what I'm saying? And Disney wants that. They absolutely want that. And, Yeah, it's coming. It's just a matter of when. So we'll see. Now, Starship, what do you think about the Disneyland side of the expansion, the Stitch parking lot? What do you think will go there? Because I was talking to George about this, and I was like, I feel like if they do like a Frozen there, which seems to be the leading rumor, yeah, I feel like there's like a redundancy issue where it almost feels like a second Fantasyland. It feels kind of weird. I don't know. What do you think about the expansion pad?
I definitely think they seem to be heavily hinting, and the rumors of it seems to be leaning towards some sort of Fantasy Springs, fantasy type of thing over there. But I think Disneyland's theme is very broad, so you can kind of put anything over there. I think they're definitely leaning towards like the Frozen, Fantasy Springs, Tangled sort of thing. But I mean, I think you could really put anything over there. But I think World of Frozen maybe with like that's probably what's going over there. At least one of the lands going over there is what I would guess right now, at least.
That's where you're.
Do you think that it will kind of? Trying to think of the wording. How to? Do you feel like putting like a Fantasy Springs kind of esque kind of thing over there, that if they were to use Frozen, if they were to use Tangled, or even just Arendelle itself, even if it was just an overall Frozen land, which I'm for sure more so that's probably what they're going to do based off of like the Bricky video. I mean, that land like fit in the Stitch parking lot like a glove, like even with the walking paths and everything. But do you feel like that by having a Fantasyland-esque IP, having their own individual land, that kind of sets it off of having Fantasyland Frozen, where at least like with Galaxy's Edge, it's all of Star Wars, but that's the same notion as like, why do we have Star Tours over in Tomorrowland when we have a whole entire Star Wars land? So you're going to put Frozen just as an individual land when you have a whole fantasy land that has all those fairy tale kind of IPs. So do you feel like that it would still fit in the placement of Disneyland because of that, or would it kind of change the whole dynamic of like where the company's direction is going with the theme parks?
I definitely think, first of all, I don't think Disney would really care that much what like thematically, whether it fits with Fantasyland or not over there. But I mean, like you said on the show, what you guys have said on the show a lot is that Imagineering definitely has a place. They like Disneyland more than everywhere else. They go the extra mile there. So I don't know if they. I mean, when you look at it in Tokyo, right, the Fantasy Springs, it's part of Disney Sea, which doesn't have any sort of fantasy things in there. But it's interesting because Fantasy Springs, they already have Fantasy Land in Tokyo Disneyland proper. And they did like an expansion of that recently too, where they got that Beauty and the Beast ride. And then they sort of doubled down on the fantasy with Fantasy Springs. And I guess people over there don't care about it thematically, whether it's, there's two fantasy land sort of things. So, but I guess that's different parks. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I wouldn't really have a problem with it because it's kind of its own sort of thing. It's like an evolution of Fantasyland. I mean, sure, this Fantasyland is over there, but as long as it's not the same sort of stuff that's in Fantasyland, I think I'm okay with it. Like if you put that Peter Pan 3D ride in like the Stitch parking lot, no, don't, because you already have Peter Pan's Flight. You don't need to do that. Yeah. But I think, I don't know, I wouldn't have a problem with them putting like Frozen over there if you wanted to.
I think it's quite interesting too that when you watch like even videos like a Fresh Baked, he was talking about the Simba parking lot, the Toy Story parking lot, the Downtown Disney parking lot. But I find it interesting that other than Hey Bricky, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's anyone else that's really talking about the Stitch parking lot, and I think that's a section of the area that's kind of being overlooked a little bit, because I think since it's not a parking lot that's open to the public, that's open to the guests, because the Stitch parking lot is essentially cast member parking, that they're not really focused on that. But essentially, when the Eastern Gateway project gets underway and is completed, they're going to end up maneuvering the cast member parking somewhere else, which is going to open up that Stitch parking lot. And I think a lot of people really aren't focusing on that because everyone's eyes are on DCA. But I do think it's quite interesting that there is going to be a parking lot that's going to be opened up adjacent to Disneyland. That's going to.
I think the money right now is betting on DCA, and that's the smart money, because I think that I would be, honestly, if Disney does Disneyland first, that's malpractice. Like, that's like, like you were saying, Starship with Galaxy's Edge, the reimagined Toontown, the Mickey and Minnie's. It's gotten so much lately. DCA hasn't gotten a big expansion since 2012. Yeah, it got Avengers Campus, but that was replacing Bugs Land. It was a very modest kind of addition to the park. I kind of refer to Avengers Campus as more of a seed planting thing, where like it opens the doors for more potential going forward, but its initial inception hasn't really been. It's not that big of a deal. I think it's only like 5 or 6 acres, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
that reminds me about Avengers Campus. Is that you're talking about? That's not a big expansion. When are we going to get our Avengers e-ticket? Is that going to come before Disneyland Forward? Is that going to be after they build Avatar? Like, when is that even happening anymore?
It's going to be after I start collecting my Social Security check.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing too. We got to, because now the MCU isn't as hot as it once was. It's not like,
I think honestly we're going to get the Avengers e-ticket before. Actually, I think we might be getting that while they're in the process of building the Eastern Gateway, because at least it's something new. It's something that's already going to be in the footprint of the park,
right? That
people can have something new that they're focused on while all the construction's going on around it.
So you do the Avengers ride while you work on the Eastern Gateway. Then Eastern Gateway's done. Then you can do Pandora.
Yeah, because that doesn't interfere with any of the parking situation over that. It's just, I think it's just like an empty backstage area over there where they want to put that. So you can just, you could build that, the Avengers e-ticket, while you're doing the Eastern Gateway, like you said, to give people something while we wait for the rest of it.
That is interesting. Interesting theory, George. Now, Florida, Disney World, Starship. What are your thoughts? Beyond Big Thunder, Animal Kingdom. What are we getting over there?
Like, definitely think Tropical America's Animal Kingdom that's definitely coming very soon. I'd say like next 2 years probably. So probably going to close it like next year, I would say, and then it's probably going to go down for like a year and a half. Here's the thing with that. I don't know how long that's going to take to build, because people always talk about how Disney World and Disney in general just takes so long to build things. Look, Tron taking forever. This Epcot taking forever. Everything taking like 6+ years. But that's the thing. I don't know how long Dinoland is going to take, because Indiana Jones, what they're doing with Dinoland is supposed to it's just a retheme, right? So that seems like that would be quick. But the whole Encanto thing is they have to build the entire house. They have to build like some sort of show building for whatever ride that's going to be. And I don't know how long that's going to take. Is that going to take 3 years, 2 years? What? Like, I don't think it's going to take 1 year. That seems too quick. So I don't know. What do you think how long do you think that would take to build there?
It all depends on Disney's. I think that the length of time it's taken them to build stuff is on purpose. I think what they do, it's like a strategic thing. Like, I think with the financials, to spread it out over as many fiscal periods as possible. But if Disney feels, here's the thing, let's say in 2025, Epic Universe opens and Disney World is just decimated. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's just say, right? Or like their attendance really takes a hit, right? Then they might put a little fire under their ass to be like, hey, you know what? We got to get this thing up. Like, then you'll start to see them really moving. You know what I'm saying? What do you think, George?
So here's my notion with the Tropical Americas. With Tron, it was essentially going into Magic Kingdom, which basically is the top dog of all theme parks. Do I feel like Disneyland has the crown on that? Absolutely. Disneyland Park. But just in society's case, Magic Kingdom is number one as far as traveling and tourist destination. And I feel like it's always going to be that. And Disney knows that. So to put a single individual ride like Tron into a park like Magic Kingdom, they took all the time in the world.
That's fair.
When you are closing off an entire land on a park that has less to do as is.
Oh, that's a good point, George.
I think they're going to haul ass, especially since they already have the construction site, like for the trailers for all the
staging
construction
area.
workers, the staging area that's going to lead behind Expedition Everest, that's going to circle around to the Dinoland area. As Starship had mentioned, Indiana Jones, I think, is not really going to take that much long. They already have the building. They already have the footprint of the ride vehicles and the ride system and the track layout. All they have to do is just change the set pieces, change the storyline, audio, music, queuing, outdoor facade. You're pretty much to go. What's going to take a little bit of a longer time, also, as Starship had pointed out, is going to be the Encanto area and what have you. Everything else is going to be pretty much just the aesthetics of the land itself that I don't think would take too much longer. So yeah, I think the longest point is going to be the Encanto section. Now, however, Disney may also open these up in parts, sort of kind of how like they did with Galaxy's Edge. They opened the land up with Smuggler's Run, and Rise of the Resistance came much later. They may do that with Tropical Americas first. They may open the land up with Indiana Jones and then finish it off with Encanto. I don't know if they're going to open up the land as a whole or if they're going to do it in sections, but I feel like they're going to keep Dinoland open a little bit longer. Obviously, they're going to wait till D23 to make these announcements. Now, of course, this is just the Italiano's opinion. I don't have no hearsay on this, but I feel like they're going to make the announcement at D23. I feel like they may keep Dinoland open possibly for one more summer, just to offset the notion because Epic Universe is opening. I really don't know if they would close down a whole entire land for construction while Universal is going to open up a whole nother theme park. Just kind of to offset the traffic between, getting people still to go into Animal Kingdom. Because honestly, if someone's traveling down and they say, hey, Universal's opening up a whole brand new theme park, but while Disney World is closing down a whole section, a whole land in Animal Kingdom, that might offset to say, hey, you know what? We're going to do an extra day at Universal.
Well,
Let's
and
Animal Kingdom.
Right. And Animal Kingdom is in the crosshairs for possible to lose some traffic from because of Epic Universe. It's in the crosshair.
Yeah.
It's kind of seen as a weaker park, which I disagree with. I love that park. It was my favorite. But a lot of normies, they look at Animal Kingdom and they go, you know what? There's not a lot of rides there. And now you're going to cut off a whole area while Epic open. You're right. That might be a problem.
Yeah.
It makes it like the most skippable park of all the parks, I think. Because, I mean, you look at Hollywood Studios, they still have things like Rise of the Resistance. They still have... it's not a full-day park, really, but it's got a lot of stuff going for it. Animal Kingdom, I mean, they have Pandora, but I think to a lot, like you said, a lot of normal people are just going to look at Animal Kingdom and be like, do we really need to go there? And then they'll skip it. But then, I mean, the opposite effect not opposite, but a different effect could happen where they could maybe skip to some of the Universal parks and just go to Epic Universe and maybe, like you were saying, Islands of Adventure.
Well, OG has been saying that a lot too. So I think at some point, Universal is going to be cannibalizing their own parks, especially the Studios park, because there's not enough to do even into that park. And when you have not much to do within the same resort, but you're going to offset it with a brand new theme park, it's like, what would you rather do? Go to Universal Studios or Epic Universe? I'm going to go to Epic Universe.
There's going to be some cannibalization with that. A lot of fans aren't really factoring that in, but it's a thing. And Universal, you're hearing rumors of Zelda and Pokemon and all that because they know they're going to see some of that cannibalization. And that's why the rumors for Zelda aren't for Epic Universe's expansion. They're for IOA. And that's because they know that Epic is going to pull from these other two existing parks.
And also with the notion of Pokemon possibly going into the Simpsons area at the studios, because again, you need something brand new for each of the parks because of the cannibalization. So going back to Animal Kingdom, what I would think Disney would do is wait one more full summer for Epic Universe to open, kind of at least have as much open as they possibly can. Maybe around the fall, close it down after the summer months, after everyone goes on their summer break vacations, kids are going back to school, people are going back to work, close it down during the fall. And then I'd say probably like summer 27.
They'll start it.
I think actually they would they would start it in the fall of 2025.
Okay, fall 25. Okay.
I think no, because that might be a little bit short. I'd say maybe summer 28. I would think.
Maybe. I mean, can they go that long with Animal Kingdom having that entire land town though?
Now that's where they may haul ass. Now if they haul ass, then I would say summer 27.
Yeah, I would go more for summer 27. I mean, look at what they've done with Tiana's. That closed, January last year, and it's opening up. I mean, it's basically done right now. They're just doing the queue, and then it's going to be open to cast members in like a week. So that was quick. I mean, it shows they can get things done when they need to. When they want to go, they'll go. It's the question. Will they do it?
Will they do it? Yeah. I think you're right. I think if they really wanted the land to open, or at least in sections, probably summer 27. If they wanted to go for the long haul, it would probably be summer 28.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to make the point earlier. It's like when they want to, they do it, because like even at Disneyland, we see a more like robust construction timeline. Like they built Mickey and Minnie's, they bulldozed backstage areas and built that right through the pandemic. It wasn't that long. That didn't take that long. You know what I'm saying? But in Florida, like you were saying, George, like Tron takes 6 years to make, so it's all very strategic and they're kind of pacing it out for whatever reason. But when they want to get something done fast, like Tiana's, it's like that, But what do we think is going to happen for Beyond Big Thunder, though?
I think there's been a lot of rumors about the idea of putting a Moana sort of boat ride, like simulator, Shanghai Pirates sort of ride in that Adventureland expansion plot, like south of Pirates, is what a lot of the rumors have been suggesting recently. And I think even with Bob Iger going on recently saying, oh, we're going to invest more Moana IP into the parks, I think that lends itself to that rumor very well. I think that might come, if that is happening, before Big Thunder, because they might want to get that seems.
I actually agree with you on that, because for Bob Iger to solidify the notion that Moana is going to have a bigger presence in the parks, it's coming off of with a tremendous success of the film in theaters and on Disney Plus.
Well, and they're doing a sequel, and they're doing a live-action version to the original.
Exactly. So, you're right. And I think, honestly, even Bruce Vaughn kind of hinted at Destination D23 that, he said, I have my team, also working on Beyond Big Thunder, but we're not quite there yet. So I think that they're really trying to flesh out the logistics behind of like what they really want to do, because they said they have some great ideas and this is going to be the biggest expansion in Magic Kingdom history. So while they're working on that, and being that it's already a sure bet with Moana based off of Bob Iger's statement during that conference meeting, I could definitely see them putting Moana in Adventureland first before touching Beyond Big Thunder. I really could.
Yeah, especially because with Beyond Big Thunder, you have to do a lot more work beforehand to get that ready, to even be ready for construction. Because first of all, there's rumors they want to get rid of the Rivers of America. And first of all, I don't think that rumor is entirely true, and I hope it's not true, because I'd love the Rivers of America. I love the riverboat going by, seeing all that, I think what is most likely happening there is they want to shorten it like they did in Disneyland for Galaxy's Edge, where it's just enough so that they get more space out of it, but they don't remove it entirely. That's what I think is going to happen up there. And I think also there's a lot of wetlands and such up there.
A lot of permits have to be filed, and they have to reroute a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Moana down there, they don't really have to do that. I think I'm no expert on this, but I think they really only have to like clear, the trees and stuff to like, and maybe prep the land a little bit to like get it going. So I think it's a lot easier to do that than it is to do all of Beyond Big Thunder.
Interesting. Yeah.
We'll see. do you feel like at D23 that Beyond Big Thunder would still be more of a we got a couple more concepts here for you, but just know it's more of a maybe, a possibly, a what if. Do you think that would be still in the pipeline for Big Thunder because they're not 100% sure yet of what's going to go? I personally feel like no matter what, the Villains is going to go somewhere in there no matter what.
I hope so. Like you guys have been saying, the dark Fantasyland, Dark Kingdom sort of thing for a Villains Land it's so perfect. It builds itself instead of like writes itself, Yeah. It's so, that'd be great. I hope they do that. There's been sort of rumors that they might not do that because it's like not entirely like friendly for kids, to have a whole Villains Land in Magic Kingdom. So that, and there's other rumors that that's maybe why they left out Dr. Facilier from Tiana's. Well, we don't really know that he's not in it, but it's kind of he's basically not in it from what we know.
Yeah.
So that's my only thing about Villains is that it might not happen because of that. I really hope it does because that'd be great. I mean, imagine like a Hades ride going through the river, like that'd be great.
Man. Oh, that'd be great. Absolutely. Chair in the bog. I mean, you can go. The sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think as far as like with Dr. Facilier in Tiana's, I don't necessarily think it's because of it being him being a villain and being too frightful for kids. I think it's more so the storyline because it's set after the events of The Princess and the Frog. As far as the notion of people thinking that it's too scary for young kids and not to have a whole section dedicated to the villains, I just have one thing to say to that. Adjust your jock strap and like put your big boy pants on. And it's like, because it's like, as Walt Disney always said and did, he never downplayed to kids. He never talked down to kids. Right. He talked to them, not at them. And he said, we don't give kids enough credit, and I think honestly, young kids have a lot more thicker skin than adults do, because adults surmise in their mind that, this is going to be too frightening for my child, where the kid's looking at them and like, what are you talking about?
You ask any kid, who's your favorite character in Star Wars? And they're all going to say Darth Vader. Darth Vader. And Darth Vader he's a straight up murderer. Okay. This guy, one of crazy bad guy, dark, and kids love the guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're right, George. I mean, let's give kids a little credit. They can handle it. They can handle, like, look, you don't want to turn Villains Land into like, a scare zone, like, Horror Nights or something. Yeah. But you can do like a dark, twisted fantasy land, kind of this like dark magic kind of vibe. That's the way to go. I think you do that, you're good. You're golden, You can even throw in like a cool little villains bar or something like that, for the adult. I there's a lot of potential with that theme. I'm surprised they're sleeping on it. Hopefully we get it. We'll see, We'll see. So,
I mean, I did hear somewhere that might go into like Hollywood Studios, which I don't think in that like animation courtyard area. And I want something to go in that area, but I don't think Villains Land is the right pick for that.
It's very Magic Kingdom-y.
Yeah. Especially because there's been a lot of not rumor, but like it's the notion that you want to. So for the fireworks, going back to the fireworks a little bit, there's a lot of problems with it crowding in the hub for people to watch all the shows. So they want to put some sort of alternative viewing area, because when you're looking at up near the Rivers of America, up that way, it's lined with the fireworks. So if you put like a Villains Bald Mountain Maleficent Castle over there and have it as a backdrop to the fireworks, you could have a great alternative spot for the fireworks, and you could have maybe like a alternative version of the show like we've seen them doing for the Star Wars stuff.
That's actually a
Galaxy
really
Edge.
good idea. I actually didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That is so. What would you prefer to see in that animation courtyard? Like, what would you like to see? I know there's a lot of rumors floating around with a bunch of different stuff, but you personally, what would you like to see go in there?
I would like to see, I would like to see sort of like a Disney animation like ride over there. Like you could have like a great movie ride, but for Disney animation specifically, maybe
That's
in
cool.
that one area. I mean, I don't think it would require that much work necessarily. I mean, you could just maybe change the facade of some of those buildings over there, and there's a lot of room with those sound stages and stuff. And then you could just build just a great ride about like maybe sort of like Wondrous Journeys in ride form.
Oh man,
That's an interesting. That's
Wow.
what I'm thinking.
I would love that. That would be great. And you go through and you go through each scene, or you can even go through like a collage, like kind of like how like you were saying, Wondrous Journeys, where it's not like just necessarily like, you know, here's Tangled, here's Snow White. Maybe it's kind of like this blending and weaving of these things together into this one thing. I think that has a lot of potential. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and you know, it goes with the whole animation courtyard. It's in the Hollywood area, so it's like when Walt would have arrived in Hollywood, you know, sort of like what they would do with DCA with this Walt statue in there. And then you know, it's this whole like it's a story with the park, and it's not just, oh, let's throw another movie land in there. Like that I think is just it's not creative really to just throw another, like say you want to just put Cars Land over there. I mean, sure, Cars Land is great, but I think that's kind of lazy.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather see something new and original.
Yeah.
Like that's why I hate that idea of putting Radiator Springs Racers in Beyond Big Thunder, because you're just copying and pasting an old ride, not old, but older
Pretty
for
old,
now, into something that's supposed to be like this revolutionary, biggest expansion of Magic Kingdom, and you're gonna just put some copy of a Disneyland ride over there?
It makes
It's
no
a great
sense.
ride, but I want to have new, groundbreaking, original stuff over there.
Absolutely, Starship. I mean, we were saying that too. They hyped up the Big Thunder stuff so much, the Beyond Big Thunder stuff so much, with the blue sky, the what if, the maybe, the imagine the possibilities, and then to go in there and just cut and copy. And from what I heard from the rumor, it wasn't even all of Radiator Springs.
Yeah, it was just the
Just the
mountain
ride.
area and the ride. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so underwhelming.
you hype people up at the D23 Expo. Oh, what if we get Coco? Everyone's screaming. And Kanto, everyone's screaming. You mentioned villains, everyone goes ballistic. And it's like, nope, we're giving you Radiator Springs Racers. You know?
A light version of it, you know,
Yeah.
you're not even getting the whole thing. So yeah, that would be such a letdown, I think. And I don't think it's weird. I think Cars is such a, there's certain Pixar properties I think could work in a castle park, you know, absolutely. Like Brave, I think a Brave ride would be really cool in Magic Kingdom or Disneyland or something. That would work. But man, I mean, Cars, that's a Hollywood Studios thing, or more of like a DCA thing. It's not a Kingdom Park, you know.
And as I said before, I love Cars Land. I love Radiator Springs Racers, but that's what the enjoyment is I look forward to when I come out to California for Disneyland. It's because I know it's a specialty land. It's a specialty ride that is catered to the Disneyland Resort. I don't want to constantly see carbon copies of all these attractions on both coasts. It's like I want to enjoy certain things when I go to Disneyland, and I want to enjoy certain things when I go to Walt Disney World.
Yeah, and I think Cars works for DCA. I know it's technically Arizona, but that car culture, that Route 66, it gives off a very California vibe. Go ahead, Starship. I do apologize, sir.
You got to give people you got to give people reasons to visit both resorts.
Yes.
If every resort just has the same thing, then why would someone like OG want to go to Disney World if Disneyland has all the same rides? There's no point. You give zero incentive to give anyone the opportunity to experience different things at the different resorts.
And that's why I do love that, even though Pandora is going into the Disneyland Resort, and I'm saying the Disneyland Resort because right now we don't know what the hell's going on. Is it going into Disneyland Park? Is it going into DCA? Is it going to be part of a third gate? Is it going to be in the footprints of already what's in the park? Is it going to be part of the expansion? We don't know. But
I think a fourth gate. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, why not? Let's make it a fourth gate. I do love that they're taking a different approach than what is the Pandora at Animal Kingdom. You know, this what it looks like to me is they're going to take off from the storyline of The Way of Water. And I love that they're taking a different approach on it with a different visual look to Pandora, a different attraction, different ride system, different vehicles, you know, different aesthetics, different everything. And we had talked a little bit even before the show that this Pandora may be a little bit more of a one-up on Animal Kingdom, because maybe, as you had mentioned, Starship, maybe now that we could actually get the full immersive of the, even though there's not the bioluminescent forest, but they could still have
nighttime,
the nighttime beauty of Pandora.
You're going to get
the glowing of the water and everything.
Right. You're going to get that at DCA, because DCA is open like late. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is. And we don't have the live animals out here in DCA.
Oh,
so they have all the freedom in the world to keep that thing open at night. And they will. I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, you know what I'm saying? DCA doesn't close at 6 o'clock. It just it doesn't. So you're going to get that nighttime.
Exactly. And plus, OG, you know, it'll look very nicely right next to Toy Story Land. So.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, George likes to mess with me, Starship, about that. Because okay, here's the thing. I don't hate Toy Story Land.
Here we go. Now it's time for the OG rant.
Here we go. I don't hate Toy Story Land, but I think that for all the political energy that they spent getting that land rezoned, and the money and the time, it took 3 years to go and use whatever acres it is to build Toy Story Land. It's super like not ambitious. It just feels wasteful to me. You know what I'm saying? Like Toy Story Land, okay, maybe somewhere else in the parks you can work it in, but that land, it took so long to get it, and that's what you're gonna build. I don't know. What do you think, Starship? Am I off base?
Oh, you're totally right. The idea of putting, and like you said, Toy Story Land. It's a cute land. It's nice. It's a good addition to Hollywood Studios. I mean, besides the fact that it has like no shade, but I think don't put that in DC. You're gonna waste all that land on Toy Story Land, of all things. You could put Fantasy Springs and you would choose Toy Story Land over Fantasy Springs. That is a horrible idea. I hope that never happens. That might be an insult to the entire resort if you do that. Honestly,
yeah, that's.
It's like an insult to our intelligence of like putting that in that.
That's even like part of the rumor with the Beyond Big Thunder. They said on top of adding the Radiator Springs Racers Light, as OG calls it, they were going to put like a Woody's Roundup kind of marionette show on Tom Sawyer Island, and it's like, I don't even know how like that would even look aesthetically, and not to mention, I just think we have too much Toy Story.
Yeah, it's time to pull back from that. You know what I'm saying? I get it. They want to kind of reimagine.
But what kind of worries me with that, though, is because we're getting Toy Story 5. And see, now with a newer generation, with another Toy Story film, and not knowing like how much success this movie is going to give. And we know Bob Iger, when something is very successful and he's all about the IPs.
Yeah.
And it's
that is worrisome. That is worrisome. Yeah, because you're right. They're going to want to tie that synergy, you know, and it's just, oh man, I don't know. Toy Story Land's cute. It's Bugs Land with a coaster is what I see it as. Right?
Yeah,
pretty much. But gentlemen, fantastic conversation today. Starship, always welcome back. We had a blast talking to you today. Thank you for joining us. If you could let everybody home know where they could find you on social media, sir.
Okay, you can find me on YouTube at Starship824. You can find me on Twitter at Starship824, and yep, that's where you can find me.
There you go. And I'll be linking that down below in the description, so make sure you subscribe to his YouTube and follow him on Twitter. And like you, Starship, I refuse to call it X. It's not X. It's Twitter. George, where can they find you, sir?
Yes, you can find me on social media on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also find... Yeah. You can also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. Comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we talked about today. Nighttime spectaculars. What are your favorites? What are your least favorites? How is our tier list? Were we spot on? Were we wrong? We would love to hear from you in the comments. Also, Disneyland Forward, the future of Disneyland Resort. Thoughts on that and Beyond Big Thunder and the Animal Kingdom stuff happening over there at Walt Disney World. What are your thoughts on that? Comment down below. And thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55.
세상은 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.